Hey guys, welcome to the Podtendo podcast. We spend the first, 5-10 minutes kind of just catching up, doing general banter stuff. If you're interested in just the show proper, listen to the sound cue. Usually we have an old commercial or some song, and then I'll get you into the second half of the show, which is kind of where we look at the show, or the game that we're talking about today. So first and foremost, we just have to clear up. We've been going through some legal battles here on Podtendo. We kind of got hit hard a little bit. I don't know if you listened to the last episode. We got sucked into this parallel dimension. Evil doppelgangers invaded this world. It was just a complete and utter mess. So we've brought our lawyers in. Our lawyers apparently were also evil doppelgangers, so that just became more messy. And there was this paintball tournament thing that we had to complete in. What we've boiled down to is we've got our show back. We're good. The hatchet's buried. But we do have to say some nice things about Sonic Mania.
Yes, at some point in time, we do actually have to. We're legally contractually obligated to go through it and do a whole show on it. A little bit of a early spoiler. Maybe better than expected.
Oh, you want to do a whole show on it?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that.
Okay, all right.
I mean, that was totally in the contracts. Didn't you read it?
Oh yes, totally read that. So Sonic Mania, I guess we'll just leave that then?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess we can just kind of talk about it right now.
But if you want to do a full show on it for sure. Initial feelings. Have you liked it? Good, bad?
So good. Actually made me re-interested in Sonic's 2 and 3 and Knuckles. Because Sonic 1, that game. Just not as good as every other one. And then my initial reaction was just pure nostalgia. But how about yours?
I thought it was good actually. I really into the orb collecting game, really into it. I got into playing Sonic 3 a couple months ago, and I would bring my Game Boy to work and play it every little second I could, and I knew where all the ring checkpoints were in the first maybe 3 or 4 levels.
Jeez.
And I would just play through them again and again and again and again and again until I was able to unlock Supersonic on that file. So a little bit addictive. So I enjoy the mass amounts of the blue orbs. I think I've beat them all. I'm trying to go back and play through them to get gold on all of them, as well as I just unlocked Supersonic. So
nice.
Yeah.
So you're killing it. That's pretty awesome.
I was literally I would play through levels just to get 25 coins to look for checkpoints. And then, inconsequentially, I beat the game.
Oh, my goodness.
I wasn't trying. I was I'm going to get Supersonic unlocked and then beat this game. It'll be fun. But I just beat just completed. I got through Robotnik at the end, and I was like, oh, that was it. Well, I guess I got to restart this file. And that's basically what I've been doing. So I've had a really good time with it. It's definitely one of those, kind of highlight games of the summer for me.
Mm-hmm. I did not expect it to be as good as it is, to be honest. I kind of was expecting I remember even playing the Sonic Adventure games on the Game Boy Advance. They're they're okay, but they're not nothing special. This feels like it's Sonic's got its flair back, and it's just if they just took it to the next level and just focused strictly on how much fun we can cram into this, because it just feels like I'm flying through levels. And if that's a great thing, because there's times where it's I want to cruise through the next 3 levels, and you're wow, I beat the very 6 zones in probably the one sitting. You're just and I didn't even blink or do anything else, of just sitting down, just gaming. And I haven't had that feeling in a really long time when it came to a video game. I guess Breath of the Wild was pretty close, but not to this. I could just sit there for just hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah, I go through phases too. I'm struggling to play Undertales right now. For some reason, it's just kind of hard to go through. Another game probably we should maybe do on this podcast at some point. But then I had Uncharted 4 around the same time that I bought, and I beat that game in 2 days. I sat one day, it was 8 in the morning, sat down on the couch, and then it was 5 in the afternoon, and I was I should go do something. I sat on the couch for 9 hours and just was in Uncharted.
Yeah, I don't get into that long of gaming sessions, unfortunately. I've been on the road a lot this last few months. I did pick up my StarCraft again, and that was good. However, that game's so frustrating. It's just it feels so old, especially when I'm used to playing just Breath of the Wild and Sonic, and then having to play all the old remakes for this game. I just like I think I'm losing my passion for PC desktop games. You know, I know the PC Master Race on Reddit is gonna hate me now, but I don't know. I think it's totally a phase where you just kind of go through and you're just like, even like, yeah, you're like you were saying, how you can sit down and play Uncharted for hours and hours on end. I think almost in kind of just in life where you go like, I didn't pick up video game for like, you know, a couple months, minus games for this. And then there's times where like all I am doing is just playing video games. So I don't know. I think it's a way. We just don't have as much free time as we were as kids because that's all you did. So
yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I go through phases too. There's months where I don't play a game. I have a bunch sitting on my shelf, have not got around to. So, and then there'll be a couple weeks where maybe I'll sit and like bang out a bunch. So just phases, right? Like the Mario. Rabbids or whatever it's called, right? Like that sound. I'm like, I could go play that, but I'm like, maybe later. I don't know. I feel like I have other stuff going on. So
yeah, I'm seeing in October, like the 18th, the new South Park game coming out. So that's probably gonna eat up a lot of my time.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's fair. So I feel like there's a game coming out that I really want to play. Sometimes I will like backlog and just like go cold turkey off video games for a while. So when I sit down, it's like a truly refreshing experience. So
yeah, and sometimes it's nice to kind of step back, and especially during summertime, it's like, man, let's get out to all the lakes and enjoy this because 6 months of winter's coming. Especially since BC's on fire, so going there is just kind of like hanging around with a group full of smokers. The air quality is just so low.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not great where we are either. I've got like a thick layer of ash on my car that I should probably wash off at some point. So I might just grab a hose and like some cloths and give it a quick wipe.
Just don't use dish soap because it will take off the wax on your car. So
I have wax on my car.
Yeah. When you like generally wash your car, that's how you get that shine to it. The wax on top.
Oh, look at this fancy guy paying for wax for his car. I just drive around in the rain.
Well, so do I. To be honest, it had a bunch of bug guts on mine, so I had to get that looked after because that stuff will eat through your paint if you leave it there long enough.
Yeah, leave it there until it eats through my paint, and then it serves it right, stupid bug. Living. That's why I killed it.
With your car, I intentionally drove into it. Man, what were you saying about the? What were you just saying?
Oh, bug guts.
Before bug guts in the cars.
Washing cars.
Oh yeah, the weather. We almost been getting rain up here. That's how nice we've been having it. So
nice.
You guys just gotta move north. Keep moving north.
Yep.
Eventually, the Arctic will be the new beach when all the ice caps melt.
It's true.
You gotta get that lakefront property.
I'm thinking investing. I was gonna go about like just a 500 feet off kind of the ice shelf right now. So kind of just for the shoreline and buy a nice piece of property. Yeah. And like 40 years, lakefront, oceanfront property. So
yeah, basically. I think we also have to kind of take into account like rising sea levels. So if all the like ice caps melt and it all goes into the ocean, you know, it's going to rise those sea levels. So you almost want to buy like maybe a mile or two back. That's even cheaper. You buy more land. You buy like a whole section of land and market it out as beachfront property eventually.
That's like the ultimate speculation. Like, scientists say when the ice caps melt, the ocean will be here. So I'll just buy this giant acre of land, sit on it, and then just develop it into condos at some point. So
yeah, basically, all the rich people down in California will want to move somewhere, and they're gonna have money, and I want their money. So I'll sell them my cheap land that I planned out for being beachfront property when everything went shit, because it's gonna go that way.
Genius. Just genius. All right. I want to get into today's game.
Yeah, sure.
Prepare thyself well, Dragon Warrior. Thy most challenging quest ever awaits. Go with speed, but go with patience. Seek out an arsenal, a dragon scale, a torch, and magic herbs. Use wisdom and cunning to choose thy commands, for the Dragon Lord is a fierce rival. Horrible and treacherous minions all guard the evil one's island huts. Art thou ready, young one?
Yes, King Lord.
And so begins a new epic, Dragon Warrior.
Nintendo, now you're playing with power.
Welcome to the Podtendo podcast, where we analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games. We can be contacted on Twitter at Podtendo Podcast, email us at podtendo@gmail.com, or check us out on Facial Novel. Oh wait, no, Facebook, sorry, my bad. At facebook.com/Podtendo. I'm your co-host, Rubik's Cube Master Mick, and I'm joined every episode by my co-host,
Chancellor Tyson.
Welcome to today's show, everyone. Today we're playing the great game. It's so great. Dragon Warrior, as voted on by the fans at one of our Twitter polls. So it's pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm. So
you
can blame them if it's not as interesting.
Yeah. And we're doing a promotion on today's show. It's brought to you by your friends at Podtendo. All you need to do is email us. So we want one email. That's the first person to email us. So it's podtendo@gmail.com. All you have to do is send us an email with subject line Dragon Warrior with some contact information. We'll get out to you, and we're going to send you an iTunes card or like an Android gift card so you can actually buy this game for your mobile device.
Yes, and if you don't feel like using it for that, we don't care. Just send us an email.
It's true. I mean, I guess we could just send them, we could gift them the code or something like that. I mean, if you don't want it and you want the $5.50 or $6 instead, just send us an email. It's an email that'll get you $6.
Yeah.
So
basically,
yeah. So I've actually made the purchase. I played the NES version of this game as well as I played it on my mobile phone. I didn't beat it on my mobile phone, but it's actually not a terrible experience. It's a lot more streamlined, and a lot of the issues I'm sure we'll talk about today are a lot better actually on the mobile device. So if you're interested in this game and you're listening and you want to try it on your phone, give us a call.
Yep.
Or an email.
Quick email.
Awesome.
Yep.
See if we can get someone.
Yeah.
You could be the first email ever.
Yeah. And we won't even read it on air, but we will say that we got one, and we will be so proud of ourselves.
Oh, I'm going to read it on air. I'm going to tell everyone your personal information.
That's what everybody's fearing, you crazy bastard.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll talk about it. We'll see what our legal team's pretty good.
Unless you're pretty chill and you want it, then that's cool too.
There you go. The Dragon Warrior, or Dragon Quest in Japan, or in North America after 2005, was released August 1989. How long to beat has this game at? 11 hours. Actual retail price when this game came out was $49.99. If we factor in inflation, that would be $98.92. Current eBay price, you can get a loose copy for $12, or you can actually get a complete inbox copy for about $50. eShop price, it's not available on any platforms. There is a remake on the Super Nintendo and Wii in Japan, and a Game Boy remake in North America, and it's available, like I said, on your Android and iOS device. So there you go. How'd you play this game?
I actually went out and I picked up the cartridge from there was a place in St. Albert, and they sell cartridges, and I came across this for like $13. So I was like, I'm just going to do this.
Sweet. Yeah. That's fun.
Yep.
Nice. So kind of like the bottom end, just loose copy value on eBay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Nice. I did an emulator, and then, like I said, I've been playing a little bit on my phone. So
nice. When did you first play this game?
I think we had the Game Boy. I feel like that's like a first memory.
Yeah, we should probably leave that.
Oh man, I had like a Snickers bar, and there's like just chocolate and goodness in my throat. That's why I seem like myself, and I don't seem like I'm someone else today. Because I had a Snickers. Go Snickers.
Support us. Send us Snickers.
We need to get sponsorships. You kidding me? We just gave some kids $6. Yeah. We're going bankrupt here. Yeah. We're hemorrhaging money.
Yeah. If you send us 6 Snickers, that will basically make up for the cost. Please, Snickers, support us.
We're
desperate. That would be the best sponsorship. Just like they send us good stuff because they like they like what we do.
We just eat them all the time.
Yeah.
Until you kind of got sick of it, and you're like, I just want a Mars bar because there's no peanuts in it.
Yeah.
I just want nougat and caramel.
Every single person's just gonna get Snickers for Christmas. It's like, here's 50 Snickers. They're all expired. I've been holding on to them all year. Wait, does chocolate bars expire?
If you kind of like heat them up and then they recool, they'll do something called blooming, so that the chocolate will get kind of like white, and it just means that it's like the chemistry of it is degraded, so it doesn't taste as good.
Yeah,
but it's not like I don't think it like goes like moldy or anything.
It won't kill you. That's good.
No. Yeah. So into the development details. Dragon Warrior's release has been noted as a notable turning point in video game history. The game has been listed as a genre builder for RPGs. The influence of this game came from tabletop RPGs, or specifically Wizardry, and the game Ultima. Hori believed that the Famicom was the ideal place for Dragon Quest, because unlike arcade games, players would not want to spend money if they got a game over. They could continue playing from where they left off. Whether the player loses in battle, they would immediately be restored to a previous save point rather than the game just ending and returning to the main menu, making the game more accessible. Hori, one of the developers, knew that RPGs had a steep learning curve than other video games at the time. To compensate for this, he implemented quick level-up systems at the start of the game and gave players a clear final goal. That is why, on the very starting screen, you can see the Dragon Lord's castle. The title was changed to avoid infringement on a trademark on wargame publishers Simulation Publications' pen and paper RPG, Dragon Quest. Wow, that was a mouthful. In the late 1990s, Nintendo Power gave free copies, or not the 1990s, of 1990. Nintendo Power gave free copies of Dragon Warriors and like a walkthrough to its subscribers. So that's probably why they're cheap, because they're just like floating around.
And
kind of neat.
Everywhere. That's awesome.
Yeah. A brief look at Enix. So you've maybe heard of Square Enix. You maybe heard of Squaresoft. Enix, the Enix part of Square, was another RPG company. It was big in Japan. From 1983 to 1993, Enix published games for Japanese home computers. Dragon Quest franchise would carry over as one of Square Enix's most important assets. Other notable Enix games are Star Ocean, ActRaiser, RoboTrek, Soul Blazer, Illusions of Gaia, and Terranigma for the Super NES. I'll be honest, before I started writing, I thought there'd be a lot more information on Enix. I was like, oh, we can talk about the company and where it came from. Basically, they just made RPGs.
Yeah. And they kind of battled head to head with Final Fantasy. I guess around the same time, they were basically Dragon Warrior was selling like crazy hotcakes, and this is where the whole Final Fantasy was like, Square was basically like, if this doesn't do good, we're so screwed. But if you listen to our Final Fantasy episode, we actually talk about that.
I don't know if I have that as a note somewhere, but one of the things I read was Dragon Warrior and Dragon Quest is giant in Japan. Like, that is the RPG. Japanese people know this as the RPG series, whereas North Americans kind of look back at Final Fantasy as kind of the starting point for RPGs. So it's actually kind of like a nostalgic point of view. So we look at Final Fantasy and be like, oh, Final Fantasy is great. Like, look how cool it is. But people in Japan don't view it that way. They're like, oh, you mean that second-rate company to
Enix?
Yeah, Enix and like Dragon Warrior? Weird.
Then they joined together, and I still haven't played another Dragon Warrior besides this game.
Yeah, I have one on one of my Game Boy Advances or something, but they're really big commitments. Like 11 hours is like a lot of time.
Yeah, and like this game is horrible for its grinding, and I feel like it only gets worse from here on out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. On to the controls. They're very basic. The directional pad moves you. A kind of opens up your menu. The odd thing is, though, when you press A and it opens up your command menu, it's not just interact with the environment. It's, here's a list of commands. So do you want to talk to someone? Do you want to explore the area you're in? Do you want to open a door? Do you want to use the stairs? Do you want to check your status? So it kind of definitely harkens back from that early tabletop RPG where the dungeon master doesn't know what you're thinking. You have to say, I want to walk over and check the floor near that garbage or something like that. And then he can tell you if you've done that or not, right? Like, it's not just like, I walked into the room and he's like, oh, and then you want to go over to the garbage and check it out. You find this key, hooray.
Yeah, and it's kind of an interesting little concept because it kind of reminds me of even the text-based PC RPGs back in the day, where it's like, go north, head east. Oh, you come across an ogre. It's like, do you attack? It's like, you don't have a weapon. So it's like, it's stuff like that where it's like it's very interesting, and it kind of makes it more of an engaging experience. We've kind of obviously gotten away with this in kind of more recent video games, but it'd be interesting to see if somebody attempted this but modernized this kind of style of gameplay.
I don't know. I mean, I think you can get away with it and be successful, but it's definitely one of those things where there's a reason why there's a help. Like, you play the new Call of Duty, even though you played last year's, there's like a help feature, and you can play the game and it'll say like, press A to jump over this ledge, and it'll always prompt you that.
Yeah.
Because they figure people are stupid. Yeah. And maybe people are a bit more stupid now. It's like, I don't get the ledge in level 2, I don't get it. Yeah. Like, level first one said A, now it's like, just what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, true.
So
they do have to pick a no person left behind, so especially when it comes to video games.
Millennials.
Yeah. For the worst.
Goddamn millennials. The battle sequences are fairly simple, so it's typically just you. You don't get a party versus one enemy, so it's not like there's a horde of enemies or multiple targets, so that is kind of nice. They use enemy strengths to control where the player can go. So right at the beginning, you can walk around and fight little slimes. If you walk too far north, the enemies get a bit tougher. If you cross bridges, all of a sudden the enemies like kick up and like they'll kill you in one hit, and you're like, oh, I can't go that way. So it's kind of a natural way of controlling where you can go in the big overworld, which is kind of a smart, like, even as a dungeon master, saying, here's this giant overworld, I want to go over there. And if you don't want players to go there, be like, you're attacked by this like level 50 dragon, and everyone's like, oh shit, that's not good.
Shouldn't have gone there.
Yeah. And it is hard to get used to, but it's I would say it's pretty neat, just because I'm used to A to interact. So like, I walk up to a shop and it says talk, obviously, or I walk to stairs and stairs just obviously I'm going down the stairs, whereas this game, it decides that you have to say you want to go down the stairs. Right? So I don't know, it's kind of strange in that sense, but that's pretty much the controls for this game.
Yeah, and I did hear an interesting thing that somebody's actually worked out the stat calculator. So like, if your defense is equal to the enemy's health, they do like a fraction of the damage. So that's always the kind of range you want to be work or training in. So
gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah, I was playing yesterday, and basically I was just kind of walking around grinding, using spells, staying close to towns, and it's one of those games, though. I mean, like, at level 25, you can beat the end boss. So it's not like it's a 99 level game. So I was, like, level 7 on my mobile phone. So chances are I could probably get through the first maybe third of the game without having to grind again, right? So maybe even first half and just kind of grind naturally. So
that's fair.
Yeah, but moving on, Tyson mentioned, when did I first play this game? I don't really remember. My memory's foggy. I've been dealing with a lot of stuff. So we're going to jump back into our Wayback Machine, which, again, is a trademark of Podtendo, not any other Segtendos or anything like that. So suck it. We won that battle. Wayback Machine, we go back and we look at August 1989. Try and get ourselves in the mindset. Instead of just talking about our favorite show, which doesn't exist, The Simpsons at that time, I'm going to pull 2 examples, explain them to you. You tell me which show you think you would like more. So, the first show, Elf. The pilot episode debuted right around this time. Elf. An alien life form crashes in San Francisco, and a family takes him in. There are no notable cast members in the show, and apparently working on the show was just awful. So the set was built up on a raised stage, and the amount of time it took to just stage a scene so that the puppeteers could work behind it and no one was tripping over anything was just atrocious. And a lot of the cast, they finished the final scene, the director said cut, and like half of them just left the building. He's like, oh, we're not really... Well, I guess that's how the show's ending, because like our cast left, because everyone just had a terrible time.
Yeah.
Elf, I think, would speak to you as a child, though. He was a funny, furry alien who wanted to eat the cat. Or the A-Team. The episode that debuted around this time was The Trouble with Harry. A washed-up boxer goes up against an old enemy. The A-Team helps his son, a regular at BA's youth center, fight off two different troublemakers. Special guest appearance was Hulk Hogan and William Perry. So of those two shows, what are you most inclined to think is your favorite show of 1989?
I would have to say Elf.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I actually used to watch Elf like reruns when I first discovered him. I was like, what is this ridiculous, like, sarcastic alien furry guy that's running around? And I don't know. I would always like see those just generic adult shows. I always called them as a kid, and anything with just like that didn't have a cartoon or like a puppet like involved somehow. It's like, that's boring. Get over it. It's like, it could have explosions and all that stuff. I was a stupid kid, so definitely.
A-Team though is like the closest show of a cartoon on like a real life cartoon.
Yeah,
because it's the most like they'll drive their van through a wall and just like get up and just like start beating everybody up for no reason. There was a podcast called Syndication Station where these guys from the Continue cast on YouTube went through and looked at old TV shows, and one of the episodes of the A-Team that they watched was A Trouble with Harry. So I've actually went and watched this episode in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And that might be one of the only A-Team episodes I've seen in the last like decade. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it is weird.
They're like, oh, Hulk Hogan, and I was like, oh shit, that was definitely like Nick and Dom of Continue, or Josh and Dom of Continue were just talking about that on a podcast. And I was like, weird.
Strange how the world lines up.
Yeah, very, very. So Tyson is going Elf. Yeah, I'd probably go Elf too. Like, knowing how I am as a kid, I'm going Elf. Other TV shows that we could watch this time: Matlock, LA Law, or Pee-wee's Playhouse. So TV's pretty great. Movies that are released in August 1989: Highlander, Care Bears 2: A New Generation, Sleeping Beauty was re-released, GoBots: Battle for the Rock Lords, and Police Academy 3: Back in Training. So,
some classics there.
Movies are strange. That's a thing. All right. Yeah. Other games that were released in August 1989. The problem with old, like, 80s, what's going on in the 80s, is I feel like I wrote the wrong date down. I think it's 86. So I've been saying 89. It definitely was. I think it was 86. Like, it definitely says that on the screen. So
yeah, no, it came out in Japan in 86.
Gotcha.
America 89. So
okay,
pretty good.
All right. So games that were also released. So this is where I'm thinking I might be wrong. This year was Kid Icarus, Metroid, Castlevania, Legend of Zelda, and Ghosts and Goblins. So we'll find out on our next episode of Podtendo if Mick had the date wrong this whole time.
We'll see.
What a fucking asshole. If you ever screw up, just like swear, and people are like, oh no, you did an okay job. Yeah. Life hack.
Yeah, I've picked up saying bonehead from one of my coworkers, and
nice.
People were like, "Oh, you're not stupid." So like, no, I'm just talking trash to myself. Helps me not make mistakes.
Yeah, well, maybe it was 89. I don't know. Legend of Zelda. I feel like, god damn it, now I'm doubting myself. All right, top 3 songs of whatever this date might be. No one knows. Could be anything. The number 3 song was "Sarah" by Starship. Yep, that doesn't... Number 2 was "These Dreams" by Heart. These dreams go on when I close my eyes. Every second of the night, I live another life. Ooh, Barracuda!
I only know these songs because Family Guy paid them money to sing "These Beans."
I don't know what
It was a terrible rendition. A bad episode.
All right.
So.
And the number 1 song from whatever this particular date is, no one knows, was "Rock Me Amadeus" by Falco.
Come and rock me Amadeus.
most awesome songs of all time.
Yeah.
It's also super German.
It is very German. Would it be? Is it great? And is it one of the rare songs that's a great song and also has a great parody of it songs? We should do a list one day and like put together like the top 5 songs that also have a kick-ass parody of them.
And both compete for like which one's better.
Yeah, like that comes up on your iPod and you're like, I'm gonna listen to this like in full, and you're not skipping it. You're like, oh, if this isn't Eat It, I don't want to listen. You know, like if Weird Al's not cranking out this tune, I'm not a fan. So
yeah, fair enough.
That might be like Dr. Seuss and Rock Me Amadeus might be like a top 5.
Yeah, we're going to definitely compile a list.
All right. So now that we're in the mindset of whatever this particular date is, no one knows. Our first memories. So honestly, I don't think I have any first memories. I do remember having the Game Boy Color release of Dragon Quest 1 and 2. As a kid, I feel like I wasn't really into RPGs. I kind of had a thing for Final Fantasy 2, as we discussed. I remember renting it a bunch and kind of enjoying that. But really up until Pokemon and Final Fantasy 7, I didn't play like any RPGs. So
I remember actually vividly playing both of these and really enjoying Dragon Quest 2. I never finished either of them because I was a stupid kid and probably got stuck or difficult or died and didn't know how to save. And I feel like this one, I remembered like I get into the second town and like trying to save up and buy a good sword, and then you die and you lose everything. I was like, I don't get this game. So I feel like I didn't know how to save, and I just basically always played the beginning part, and I would like go on road trips and like try to get through it. And it's like I suck at this game. So
fair enough. All right. So just to fact check, because it was really bugging me, Dragon Warrior was released May 27th, 1986. In Japan, and August 1989 North America. So Tyson was correct on that one. So
you're okay.
We made it. Good job by us. Cool. All right, so without further ado, unless you've got anything else to add, let's get into the story of this game.
In olden days of yore, the realm of Elfgard was cloaked in darkness. According to legend, a brave warrior, Erdrick, brought light back to the land by defeating an evil being. He used the balls of light bequeathed to him by a friend to drive off the enemies of Elfgard. He gave the balls of light to King Lorik, who unified Elfgard. The land was peaceful for many generations. In the time of King Lorik the 16th, the balls of light were stolen from Tintagel Castle by the evil Dragon Lord. And once the kingdom of Elfgard was plunged into darkness, many travelers fell prey to the merciless fangs of monsters, and the beautiful countryside was transformed into a poisonous marsh that hindered travelers. It was also rumored that several towns and villages were destroyed, wiped off the face of the land by ghosts and dragons. Many brave warriors tried to recover the balls of light, but none of them ever returned from Charlock, the Dragon Lord's dark castle. The people longed for peace, but did not give up hope. The great seer Mahit predicted that one day a descendant of the valiant Erdrick shall come forth to defeat the Dragon Lord. Who is this brave soul? There is only one possible answer. It's you! Your quest is to find and defeat the evil Dragon Lord. This time has come. The time has come for you to start your adventure.
Wow, what a great story. That's always my favorite part, is my melancholy and sarcastic. What a great story, I get to say.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least it's better than the Sonic stories.
Yeah, those were pretty... They were non-existent.
Exactly.
Yeah. So also, just as a minor side note, as Tyson brings it up, I definitely released an unedited audio form of our last podcast, Sonic 1 and 2. It plays very blandly, but I also kind of make a saving joke at some point that we don't edit the Podtendo podcast, so like it kind of almost saves it in like a humorous way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. And I think in contrast to our regular episodes, you're like, oh, they actually do put effort into this.
Yeah. Well, like go back, and now that it's been re-released, like this has been like a month ago, people. So interesting fact, any iPod right now that has an unedited Sonic 1 and 2 Podtendo podcast on it is selling for like 10% less than its retail cost on eBay. So
Yeah, you're definitely going to want to delete that file and then re-download it again.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not like when Flappy Birds came out and like people were selling these iPhones they had with it on it for like $7,000. It actually depreciates. So just interesting fact. Mm-hmm. If you thought you'd like found this rare collector's item, you were so wrong.
Yeah, it actually is devalued your stuff.
Yeah, very, very much so. Very much so. But because we're in edit mode, this is great. So on to the level notes. You begin your journey by having King Lorik asking you to save the world. You start off in Tentacle Castle. You can walk around and use the super awkward controls. You know what's kind of interesting about Tentacle Castle? Tentacle Castle is the ruins, or the ruins of Tentacle Castle is where they think if King Arthur was real, that's where his castle would have been. So Camelot and Tintagel Castle are like interchangeable.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we actually stayed at Tintagel Castle when we went to England.
That's really neat.
I was like, "You're in Tintagel." I'm like, "I've been to Tintagel." They're Merlin Muddle. It's a great little beer.
Oh, I was going to ask, what did you name your character? Do you remember?
I didn't get an option.
Oh, you didn't get an option? Oh, okay.
Oh, maybe I was Mick. I think I was probably just Mick.
Oh, okay, because if you actually name yourself, it changes your stat growth.
What?
Yeah, so like if you choose like Link or Zelda or something like that, or in my case Tyson, it actually increases your health and strength. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. But
shit, son.
The good one to have, because you can have focus on, because it either goes like there's 4 stats. There's strength, health, MP, and agility, I think. Yeah. And the agility helps your defense. So if you actually choose like attack and defense, you basically get a really like more tanky character, and actually will like hinder your health growth and your MP growth. So
sweet, fun.
Yeah,
fun. So we're tasked at trying to stop the Dragon Lord to prove that we are the rightful heir of the dragon descendants, something like that. So first thing I want to do is I'd go check out Braconnery Town. You can heal, collect some equipment and items for your upcoming journey, and then you get to do the best part of this game, grinding. So I would definitely level up maybe a couple levels to be safe, like 3 or 4 can probably get you across the world no problem.
Yeah.
You head to Garaham, which is another city kind of in the northwest. There's some more items to collect here, as well as access to a grate, one of the later parts that I accidentally stumbled upon the first time I was playing, and I was like, oh, that's strange. I'm just going to leave this area.
Yeah, there's times where you can just kind of end up in way too hard of an area. But the nice thing is, if you can run from these, like most of the enemies, and it's not a big deal. Like sometimes they'll just stop you and do an attack, and you.
Yeah.
But they most of the time you can get away and not actually end up just killing yourself. So running is a totally viable option in this.
Along the way, we can also find the Erdrick's Cave. We find a scroll here that tells us that we must collect 3 items of our ancestors to prove that we are, in fact, ancestors of this person. And I was like, well, that's stupid. I was like, you said your ancestors. Dumb game. Then we want to go to Cole. We leave the main area to the east, and enemies become way more difficult. Here you can locate a hidden fairy flute. The owner is in Rimladar. I think I said that right. There are some weapon upgrades and a shrine here. In the shrine, an old man tasks you with finding a harp, because finding items and backtracking are the greatest parts of games, you know?
Mm-hmm. And mixing that with some fun grindy, it basically makes for some of the funnest gameplays of all time.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil my current thoughts of this title, but pretty much backtracking and grinding the game is what I would call this game. So
that's probably very, very, very accurate.
Like the little adventure you get to go on it's okay, but it seems very, I don't know, contrived. And
yeah, also the world seems so small.
Well, it is actually pretty small. So
yeah.
For 86 though, you're like, yeah, all right. Like 89, I'd expect better, but 86 is, I think, probably pre-Final Fantasy. So it's definitely one of those things you're like, yeah, I understand kind of what they're doing.
Yeah, and I mean, it definitely wasn't easy designing a game like this, because everything is basically designed into like different chunks, so all the different areas have different enemies and different like stat boosts. So like sometimes you'll like move down a little, it'll move south a little bit, and you'll come across like a red werewolf instead of like a blue werewolf, and blue guys are a lot easier. So it's a very, there's a lot of going on in the background. So I can forgive it.
Yeah. We want to head to the Swamp Cave. You can use the Swamp Cave to access the other continent, as well as find the missing princess located here. I wouldn't risk rescuing her until much later in the game. From there, though, you can head to Rimuldur. I feel like I said it right the first time and wrong the second. We learn about the location of the flute, unless you maybe were following a walkthrough and found it, and the Sunstone, which is one of the 3 items we need here, as well as you'll find wings, which warps you back to Tentacle Castle. I made a note that apparently this flute scares away golems. I don't know. Was one of those items I picked up and I was like, yeah, I found the item. And then because my walkthrough didn't tell me what to do with it, I just never used it.
Yeah, I'm very much in the same boat. There's just like some things like, oh, you can actually use this? Huh. I didn't know I could.
Mm-hmm. We can use, however, the Sunstone to go back to Tentacle, or not the wings that we got, to go back to Tentacle. If you go around the back of the castle and make your way around kind of the right-hand side, you can uncover the cellar. Down there you find the Stone of Sunshine, or the Sunstone.
Another neat thing is, if you're like me and you're playing the actual cartridge, having some extra wings is always nice, because you have to talk to the king to save.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
You see, I had quick saves, and on my phone there's like a quick save option. So
yeah, that's probably a million times
but
better.
if you die at any point, it's not a game over.
No.
You just go back to the king, and you lose your money. I think you have.
Yes, but if you want to save, it just seems like strange. So if I have to like want to turn it off, it's like best get myself back to the king.
As long as you're not grinding and like trying to save money to buy something, you in theory could like go buy a bunch of potions, die, go back to the king, like die, go to the king, save, and then quit the game.
I was also grinding so much, it's like, and I didn't overspend on equipment. Usually I do that without following a guide, but I was following a guide pretty hard, so I just always had tons of cash kicking around. So buying extra wings wasn't a big deal.
Gotcha. Well, that's the other option, is you just buy wings and then go and save rather than dying. So there. All right, now we're going to go to Garenham. Without a guide, you'd have to use a lot of trial and error in this area. There is a building with a locked door with 2 bickering guards in it. If you walk to the north, so this was that second town that I talked about that I accidentally stumbled into, because you definitely go into this building. You walk around, there's a basically looks like a blank wall. I made the mistake of walking up, and then you kind of like awkwardly are outside, and you're like, oh, interesting. But the game wants you to go that way. It's almost kind of, it's like a weird trick that they're playing.
Yeah, and at this point, a lot of kind of hidden rooms and passages become...
Was that a motorcycle?
Yeah.
But how loud? Where are you recording on the freeway right now?
No, there's just a bunch of a-holes that drive diesels and motorcycles, and they like to crank. Yeah, anyways.
All right, cool.
No, yeah, I'm in my house, and the window, I think the kitchen's open and the door's closed. They're retarded. Yeah, it sucks.
Right. Cool. Something about roofs. What were you gonna say?
Oh, there's lots of hidden passages, and
yes.
Without a guide, I have no idea how you would ever come across half of this stuff, because like some of it, like, walk all the way around here to talk to this one guy, and you're like, man, this is so kind of backwards and confusing, but clever on the designer's part, I guess.
Yeah, no, it was a real pain in the butt. But I guess it was one of those things, like, as a kid, like, if you only had this game and you had 3 months, like, you could literally explore and talk and like make notes and stuff like that. It's not meant to beat in like 3 days to record a podcast on.
True.
Right? So down here in the cellar, or whatever you want to call it, the little dungeon area, basically is a maze. I'd use a map, and at the end you'll find the silver harp. Now we get to go on a fun side quest. We can return the harp, we can check out the mountain cave to the south, or we can bypass it all and to the ruined city of Haxness in the south. Here you can go and you'll defeat a knight to get Aldrich's armor, the best armor in the game.
Mm-hmm. This knight is very hard. But casting sleep on him is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I forget what my strategy was, but yeah, no, I definitely have a note that he's a boss, very tough, but definitely worth it. So, because you're protected from any of the danger tiles, the poisons. I think it actually heals you when you walk around too. You get like a point of health power for every step you take.
Yeah, and all barriers you can just now walk over, which is this game. It makes the game a lot more playable.
Yeah, so that's maybe the halfway point, and we've got kind of the best armor, so it's kind of neat. In the south, we're going to Cantlin. It's a pain to get to this city, but it's definitely worth it. There's some great upgrades here. You'll learn that Eldric's token is located 40 steps east and 70 steps south of Tentagle. So we get to do more backtracking, or just use a guide. I would recommend go back to the swamp cave at this point, and you're going to rescue the princess. She's being guarded by a green dragon, which is like a common enemy at this point, so it shouldn't be that tough of a battle. Just kind of normal. With her, you can take her back to the king, and then she uses her love, or no, she leaves you a note, which you can read that tells you how far away from her you are. So if you're this many steps east or this many steps north, so with that you can kind of like radar your way to finding the hidden token. So definitely a cool part of this game.
Yeah, and it reminded me a lot of Star Tropics.
Oh my god, I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, so good. That game's going to keep popping up, I'm telling you. That game's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, like it definitely is like one of those things where I was like, I appreciate this. I just used the guide and like they showed me a picture where to go, so I picked it up and then just left. And yeah, so I was like,
I love when they build this kind of stuff into games where it's like, oh, I actually have a guide built in. You're like, I don't no longer have to just like try to decipher or walk against every single wall. And there's some spots where you have to search, so pay attention to what people say, or you end up not knowing where to explore for certain things.
So, side tangent number 7 of this podcast. Yeah. You ever played the game Fez?
No.
So, Phil Fish developed this kind of 2D platformer, but it's technically 3D. So what you do is you acquire this magical fez that lets you flip the 2D world to see all the dimensions of it. So you can actually kind of like, you're sitting on a cube, and everyone lives on the one side and only thinks there's like a front side of the cube. You then learn that there's a side, back, to all parts of the world, and a lot of this stuff is like completely, I don't know what you would call this, cryptic. Like at one point there's a little brown or a little silver fox jumping over this lazy dog, and there's like these 26 symbols above it, and you're supposed to figure that out and know that the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog has every single letter in the alphabet in it. And then you're supposed to know that those symbols are the alphabet of this game, and you can like decipher this whole other language.
Oh, cool.
And then there's another one where it's you have to collect these cubes, and one of the cubes is you get to this part and there's just a QR code on the screen. So if you pull out your phone, scan the QR code, it sends you to a website that's like left, 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 right, left, left, and if you type in that sequence, it unlocks the cube on that screen.
That's so smart.
Yeah, so it's like super meta in a way. It like definitely reminds me of this, and it's one of those moments where like I go back and play it once in a while, and I'm like, I like this QR code stuff. Like it's very smart, you know. And
yeah, especially since it's so accessible these days.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, I'm like, just great, just genius, genius.
Yes.
So we would have fight the boss. Now we can go to the Rainbow Bridge. So we have 2 items. You can use the harp to get the Cane of Rain. So we've got the rain, the token, and the sun, and that will help us create the Rainbow Bridge, which gets us to the middle part of the continent or the Dragon Lord's castle.
Yes.
My game, because I might have been using cheat, definitely didn't build the bridge for me, so that was awkward.
Oh, shitty.
Yeah, it did. It just didn't appear. So like it built it. It just didn't show me that it built it.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so it was kind of those like, like I was like, that's really unfortunate. Really unfortunate. From there, though, you can basically just make your way to the Dragon Lord's castle. This area is a giant maze full of tough enemies. I would recommend having a map and have most of your grinding done before you come into this area, just to save you some time.
And know
at the end
almost where you want to go, because the bad guys here are just like, so just don't go on any side tangents. Just get to the like box at the end.
Yes.
And get out.
You get to I think it's like the 7th level, and you'll get the path to the Dragon Lord. It's pretty straightforward. This boss, the Dragon Lord, his first form, just use your kind of normal attack strategies on him. He is defeated, and then he comes back as his second true form. The Dragon Lord becomes a big blue kind of comical-looking dragon guy. I just threw everything I had at him, and hopefully, he's strong enough to beat him. So that was kind of the strategies there.
Yeah, that's probably the best way of doing it. I think that I don't know. I was pretty over-grinded at this point, so I wasn't really struggling.
Yeah, that's where I was at for sure.
Yeah.
So this game is one of the reasons I think I actually like this game more than I don't like this game.
Yeah.
Like before we talked, I was like, "Oh, don't like this game." But like talking about all these little cute things that happens in it, it's kind of nice. Like it's kind of interesting, you know?
Yeah, I think this definitely is one of those things where it's a little bit more harder to appreciate when we're used to all the all the nice things of modern video games, as much as we were kind of crapping on them earlier. It's also one of those things where I think that if you just take the time and just appreciate it and don't just try to bang it out for a podcast, there's a lot of enjoyment there to be had, and it's fun.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. So with that, one of the cute things I was kind of going to mention was we've got 4 different possible endings. So the regular ending is we return to Tentagle and we talk to the king. You refuse to take his throne, and the princess joins you as your companion on your journeys. So that's kind of like the best ending. The other option, the second ending, is the Dragon Lord, when he first comes to you and says, "Oh, you've come all this way. Are you here to join me?" You say, "Of course." The world then falls into darkness and your long journey is over. Take a rest. Ha 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 ha. And the game freezes, so...
That's terrible.
Also, I don't know the timeline 100%, but if you choose that option, Dragon Quest Builders exists. So that's the timeline that game works in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So the world is in ruin because you didn't save it, and you have to go around and you're tasked as a builder who has to rebuild the world. So it's kind of like Minecraft mixed with Dragon Warrior,
cool.
Which I might look into purchasing after playing this now. Yeah, I was like, I wanted to play it before, but I was like, I don't know enough about Dragon Warrior to like fully do it, so it's kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
So, the third ending, you end the game without rescuing the princess. So you must have played it before. You find the token, which has you refuse the throne. So you just refuse the throne, and then you end up doing nothing unless the dragon returns again. So you don't get the little ending where she joins you as a companion.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. And then the fourth ending you get is you save the princess, and you take her, because you carry her after you save her, to the Dragon Lord. You defeat him while carrying the princess. You then return to the king, and basically it plays out just like the first ending. But I thought that was really funny. I was watching a video of the 4 different endings, and one of them is literally just the guy carrying the princess around, like, to the end of the game. So
that seems way too much work.
Well, you just like, I mean, if you know where to go, you just go and save her, and then you just carry her the whole time. So
I guess so.
Yeah. So kind of like that. Current thoughts on this title? This game is just one giant fetch quest. It's great. I can appreciate that it's one of the earliest RPGs. So there are lots of those shortcomings. Again, I've kind of like, as I've talked about it, kind of like, it's kind of charming and fun. It would be worth a playthrough again. Like, I think I probably will keep playing it on my phone. Just like our lucky listener that wins our card, I employ you to try that. Listen to kind of what we were talking about, see if that helps you, and go from there. Like, I think it's not the best, but I mean, it's only a couple hours, so not that hard.
No, and it's so enjoyable. Like, once you've played it all the way through and you kind of get the whole like where to grind and everything, you know, I think taking this on like all the bus or whatever and playing around with it would be actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I agree. Now, there was another section that we were supposed to do in some of our shows, but like sometimes we just don't do it for whatever reason, is what would you change? So if you were to make this game better, what's an improvement you would make? I'd really struggle with that one. I kind of like the charm in it. I don't know.
Given the limitations of what they had, I think the only like real difference that they could have added made it better. I don't know. I think it's got a neat little story. It's pretty simple and straight to the point.
Maybe like a hint feature, like a map with a hint feature or something. Just even like a little companion you could have called up and been like, oh, maybe you should go talk to this guy.
Yeah,
might have,
or maybe,
you know,
have a fortune teller in each town or one town where they could be like, go here next.
Yeah, because lots of RPGs have done that well. Like Navi is the perfect example in Ocarina of Time, or even the fortune teller, like you're saying, in Paper Mario.
Yeah,
he was always able to tell you where to go next. And if you weren't like super stumped, you could ask about like main story, or he would tell you where like a star piece was. So
true.
Yeah. All right. So, are you buying it? Then we're out of here. That's kind of our game theory section of this one. These are lacking in the next couple podcasts anyways. There are not a lot of theories behind these guys. So, the timeline theory. In Dragon Quest III, it's pretty obvious this is the first in the series. We play as Eldrick. He becomes the hero, and Zoma foretells of the future. Then we go 6, 4, 8, 9, 10, 5, 1, 2, 7. If you don't know what the games or the stories, it's completely useless to you. So basically, if you're interested, I urge you to seek out the Dragon Quest timeline theory that was posted on Reddit by this one user. That's his guess at it. I read through it and I was like, I don't really get it. But I also haven't played the game, so if you're a big fan, check it out.
Yeah, it's weird when they always try to jump around and try to fit it into a timeline, because I think that most of the time they're just like trying to tell a single story and have it just so happen to happen in that universe. Fans always go way too hardcore, but if you have the time and effort, I mean, I guess you could go 6, 4, 8, 9, 10, 5, 1, 2, and then 7. Where does 3 fall? Oh, wait, no, he's... Okay, never mind. Sorry.
3's the first one.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, and then my second maybe theory that we kind of already talked. Why Dragon Quest isn't as popular in the West? Executive producer Yu Miyake said the reason Dragon Quest hasn't taken off in North America is because Square Enix's lack of promotion in North America. He also noted that Japan's nostalgia is rooted in Dragon Quest, whereas the West's nostalgia in RPGs is successful proceeds in Final Fantasy VII.
I think that the reason why a lot of the North Americans didn't really get into RPGs is because it wasn't an obvious... Like, now, like, when we first started playing this game, it's like, oh, God, this is going to be a grind fest. But after you get through it once, you're just like, man, I could actually kind of replay this game and probably, you know, in 6 months, if you asked to play 1 and 2, I'd be like, yeah, actually, I could probably do that. Like, I feel like you have to get through it once, and a lot of American or North American gamers were like, I don't get it in the first 5 minutes and putting it down. Whereas Final Fantasy VII kind of like drops you into this really interesting world and it just basically leaves you in mystery, and that's what kind of keeps you going until you're hooked. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't. The reason I don't play an RPG is because I don't know where it's going, and it seems scary to me that I have to like go exploring. Whereas I'll go play Pokemon again because I know what the fuck to do in Pokemon.
Sure.
Like, I get it. Like, okay, grind here. Oh, if you don't have someone that's strong against Brock, you better go find the Butterfreeze. You can learn Confusion, and then you can beat him. Like, I know the steps. I know which Pokemon to get to. Versus when you play a new Pokemon game, I'm like, I don't know. It's like, what the fuck this is? Like a Squitterpod?
Yeah.
What the fuck's a Squitterpod? It's like a Caterpie mixed with a octopus. Like, I'm like, shooting ink in me? I was like...
Yeah.
So
the first couple of Pokemon games did a really good thing where you could see it's like red, it's like fire. Whereas some new Pokemon games are like, what's this green and orange looking thing? You're like, oh, that's a fairy type? And you're like, oh, it looked electric to me. So I decided to bring out a rock guy and I got owned.
Yeah. So you almost need that, like a guide and like to know everything.
Yeah.
So that kind of does take away. But I mean, I understand definitely the charm and appeal of this series. I probably will give it another shot. Maybe we'll look into that. You know what? I'm not done with this series. We'll look into it again. Yeah. So I guess we can kind of just start wrapping things up. What did we miss?
I don't know. I don't really know that much about this game, so I feel like we did a good job covering most of it, and I tried to throw in my little facts about, defense and health and then naming your character certain things. And there's a calculator if you want to max your stats to our perfect our winner of the email contest. So
sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. Cool. So definitely with Dragon Quest, this is one of those games I've been kind of pushing for a while now, like probably almost a year, to try and get it to work into the schedule. It was kind of nice, I think, to see where RPGs was coming from. And I think as our journey, as we're learning and growing as Nintendo fans and retro Nintendo fans, it's important to look at titles like this and be able to critically kind of look at it and say, okay, I understand why it has this weird menu system, right? Because that's all they knew from tabletop games, and I understand how this helped develop Chrono Trigger. Like, I understand Chrono Trigger is Chrono Trigger because this game existed, right? So it's good to kind of go back. Maybe we'll look at Dragon Quest 2 at some point. I mean, there's a ton of RPGs, so I mean, if you're a fan of the RPGs and you listen, again, like, we're listening, just let us know. We'll play more of them. But right now, we might pick up another RPG in December.
Yes, I think so.
I'm thinking like we'll talk after the show for sure.
Unless you have a certain, I know a game coming out in November that's an RPG that we can play.
Oh yeah, I think I wanted to do like that one and then like a retro RPG too.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll discuss with you kind of because I think we're planned up till December right now. I'll tell you what my plan is like after the fact. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, but I don't know exactly like when Dragon Quest 2 comes out or what system it comes out on. So, but I think we're leaning more Super Nintendo at this point.
Yes, I think we've done almost 2 years of NES right now.
Yeah, well, we only did one year.
But when's maybe it's only in March.
Yeah, it was like May or something.
Oh, okay, I felt like it was in March, so I were like a year and a half.
Yeah. So, anyways. There's our like generic ramblings at the end. So
of course.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So thanks for listening. You can contact Podtendo on Twitter at Podtendo Podcast, email us at podtendo@gmail.com, or check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Podtendo. The music of Podtendo is used without permission and is property of Nintendo. We also never say bye, which I think is strange. So bye everyone. Bye.